Hi there, I'm Michelle the Painter, and this is Cookies and Canvas for Kids. Alright, so today we're going to be painting the Hootin Owl Family, and I'm going to be eating my owl-shaped sugar cookies. So let's paint our canvas and eat our cookies. Alright, so for the materials today we're going to be using a stretched and primed 16 by 20 canvas. You can get this at any of your local craft stores or order it online, and of course you can switch up the size, but that's what I'm going to be using. I'll be using 3 brushes. I'm going to use a number 12 flat brush, a number 10 round brush, and a number 2 round brush. And I will refer to these as small, medium, and large as we go through the painting process. I'm going to be using acrylic paint, and the colors that I'm going to be using today are titanium white, cobalt blue, burnt umber, which I'll refer to as brown, Mars black, fluorescent purple, fluorescent green, deep yellow, and fire red. And again, you can switch those up, but those are the colors I'm going to be using. You'll want to have a cup of water for washing your brushes and a paper towel for drying your brushes. And I'm also going to be providing in the description below a downloadable picture of the final painting. So you can print that and use it as your reference as you go along. There's also step-by-step instructions on the painting, and I'm also providing for you in the description a delicious, yummy recipe for my super cute owl sugar cookies. And that's all you're going to need today. All right, so what we're going to do for the first step is we're going to paint the sky with our number 12 flat brush. We're going to be using blue and white, and I'm going to be using a left to right brush stroke. I'm going to put both blue and white on my brush at the same time, and I'm going to be going left to right. And what I'm going to do is as I come down that sky is I'm going to be picking up more white than blue. And I don't wash my brush. So right now I'm just picking up white, and I have the remnants of the blue from the first time I picked up paint on my brush. So what'll happen is it will naturally get lighter and lighter as it comes down my canvas. And you can see I tend to go back up into the previous section just to kind of get a nice blend. And now again, I'm just picking up white, but I still have a little bit of blue on my brush. So my sky is going to get nice and light as it comes down towards that horizon. If you were to look outside on a nice clear day, you'd probably notice that the sky does in fact seem like it gets lighter as it goes down towards that horizon. And that's what I like to do in my paintings when I have a nice smooth sky like this, is get that paint to get lighter and lighter as it comes down. Again, so right now I'm still just picking up white. It's probably going to have a little bit of blue in it, which is great because it just ends up being a nice light blue at the bottom. It doesn't have to be white. I just get it to go nice and light, and then I do these really long strokes going across, so that will help to blend it. And if you want it lighter or darker at the bottom, you can certainly adjust your color to whatever you want. If you want it to be a little bit bluer up top, you can certainly add a little bit more blue. So it's totally up to you, but if you can get it to go a little bit lighter as it comes down towards the bottom of the canvas, that's great. And then for the next step, we're going to switch to that medium brush that you have, the round brush, and we'll go right on to the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step, we're going to use our number 10 round brush, or medium brush. We are going to be painting the branches, and I'm going to be using black, brown, and white to do so. I'm going to use these 3 colors on my brush at the same time, so I'm picking up all 3 colors. That way what's going to happen is I'm going to have a variation in colors on my branches. I'm going to start about a third of the way up, and I want my first branch to be really kind of thick, and I want this branch to be the one that the owls are going to sit on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start about a third of the way up, and I'm just going to kind of get my branch kind of in motion. Once I've got it placed where I want, then I'm just going to come back and I'm going to add maybe some little branches coming off of it. And I'm going to get it to go nice and thick over here on the left-hand side. So every time you pick up paint, you can pick up a different combination. So right now I'm just picking up brown and white. You could pick up more black one time or more white the next time. By adding or by picking up a different combination of colors, you're going to get this pretty neat effect where you have some light spots and some dark spots. But I really want it to be nice and thick as it comes over on this side, because a natural branch will get thinner as it goes towards the tips of the tree. So that's why I like to have these little skinny ones over here and this thicker one over here. And then I am going to go up and make myself another kind of piece of a branch coming off over here. So this way it looks like we've got maybe a little split in the branch. And again, you can really have fun with this. Maybe I've got one coming off here. I'm going to have my owls sitting in this in this section over here, so I can have as many branches around the rest of the canvas that I want. So you could sit here for as long as you want and just keep making tons of branches, and when you feel like you have enough, then you just stop, because you don't need to make a million branches, but you can have certainly as many as you want. And then when you feel like you're all set with this, you're going to wash and dry this same brush, because we're going to use this brush for the next step. Alrighty, so what we're going to do for the next step with this number 10 round brush, or your medium brush, is we're going to create the first layer for your owls. So I'm going to be using just brown paint and my medium brush, and I'm going to I'm going to do 3 owls, but you could do 5 owls if you wanted to, or 2 owls, or 1 owl, however many that you want. And I'm going to kind of think about it first where I want them to be placed. So I'm going to have 3 sitting on my branch here. So the body is going to be kind of like a circle. You can certainly make it more of an oval, but the body can really be either a circle or an oval. But when I get to the head, I'm going to definitely do the head as an oval. So that way it'll add a little bit more shape for the head. So I'm going to do this head here in like an oval. And I'm doing mine about as wide as the body. You could have it a little bit wider if you want. You can always make it bigger, or, if you make the head bigger, you'll probably want to make the body bigger too. But you can really have them as big as you want. You could have a really huge one if you wanted to. I think I want to make the body on this one just a little bit bigger. I want this one to look like my Papa Owl. And you can overlap the circles, so you don't want them to, the head to be too wobbly or independent on the body. So I'm just kind of making it a little bit bigger in the body. And then my next one, I want to have it close, because for me, my next one's going to resemble the mom, which I'm going to have a little bit smaller. So I'm going to do my body somewhere in here. And again, it can be circular, or it can be a little on the oval side. And the way that you paint it in doesn't need to be anything special. I'm really just kind of coloring it in. We're going to add the feathers later, so you don't have to necessarily do any particular fancy brush stroke. And you can see I'm making this one a little bit shorter than the other one. And that head is more of an oval shape, and it's coming about as wide as the body itself. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my third one. And this one's going to be, in my opinion, really kind of super cute. The head is going to be kind of tipped to the side like he's leaning his head on mom's shoulder here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my head first, which is going to be the oval, and it's going to come this way. So he's going to have his head kind of to the side, and then I'm going to have my body is going to come in through here. And you'll see when we go to add the little features on it later, why, how that's going to make it look really cute. And that's going to conclude that step. The next step, we are going to use your bigger brush. So you can put this one away in your water cup and take out your big flat brush for the next step. Okie dokie. So what we're going to do for the next step is we are adding leaves to the tree, and I'm going to be doing it with my large flat brush. The colors that I'm going to be using are green, yellow, and white, and I'm going to be using the 3 colors at the same time. And you don't necessarily have to use them at the same time, but I'm going to start. And I'm just really kind of smushing it into my canvas. The white is going to help it, like I just picked up white. That's going to help it make it look nice and fluffy. And you can add as many leaves as you want. You don't just have to do them at the end of every branch. You can certainly do some in the middle of the branches too. And you can put as many as you want. This is going to be a nice fun step where you can fill out the tree. If there's anything on the tree that you're like, ooh, I don't really think that was the best thing that I did, you can certainly just add leaves on top of it. And you can make it nice and fluffy. You can pick up yellow sometimes, like I'll just pick up yellow right now, and that'll make some nice yellow spots, or you can pick up white and that'll make some nice white spots. So you can really just have fun with this. Add these leaves wherever you want them to go. I'm going to have some down here. If you keep them on the ends of the branches, that's going to make it look more like blossoming, like a blossoming tree. But if you put it a little bit fuller, that's going to make it look more like it's a summertime tree. So just know, depending on how many leaves you put on it, that will make it look like a certain season. It could look like a nice spring tree or a summer tree. If you wanted, you could even put little dots of pink or red and white in there, or purple. That'll make it look like there's flowers blossoming on the tree. So you could really make this, as personalized as you want. If you like pink, put that pink in there, or that purple in there. If you like yellow, put lots of yellow in there. And I'm just kind of really having fun here. I'm doing some really green spots, some really yellow spots. Now I'm adding some white on top of it. And then what I'm going to do for the next step is I'm going to be using my small brush. So once you get these leaves all nice and scattered on your tree, you can put this big brush away in your water cup, and you can take out your small brush. Ooh, see, I like doing leaves. Sometimes I just have a little blue on my brush. Sometimes I just can't stop. I just have so much fun adding all this brightness to the canvas. All right, I think I'm going to stop now. And I'm going to have a bite of cookie, and I'm going to get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're doing for the next step, we're going to use our small brush. We're going to use black paint only, and we're going to do the first layer of the eyes. So these are going to be big circles that you're just going to color in black. You don't want to bring them all the way to the end of your head, but you definitely want them to take up a big amount of space on the head. So I'm going to do one there, I'm going to do one here, and you want to leave them just a little bit away from the edge of the head. And I'm also going to do a little triangle for where I'm going to put or a little spot for where I'm going to put my beak, maybe like the shape of a teardrop. So I'm going to do 2 big black circles, color them in with black. I'm going to do a little shape where I'm going to end up putting my beak later. So this is just a little area for my beak to sit later. And then this one is going to be to the side. So I'm going to do his eyes going this way. One here and one here. And they're just circles. You don't have to make anything fancy out of this, just a circle. Trying to get my hand out of the way there for you. And a little spot where I'm going to put my beak later. This black will help us so we can see the beak later. And that's going to conclude that step. So the next step, we're going to use your medium brush. So you can put the small one away in your water cup and take out your medium brush, have a bite of your cookie, and we'll go on to the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we are putting the feathers on our owls. I'm going to use my medium number 10 brush, and I'm going to use brown and white for this step. So I'm going to start with brown. I'm going to put my wings on my birds. So if you have room, all you really need to do is just kind of flip out a little wing on the side. You can have one here. Maybe you don't see hers, maybe you see his. So you might not even see them all. But if you can see them, maybe these two are holding wings. If you can see them, great. If not, no worries. Then I'm just going to quickly wash and dry my brush, and I'm going to use white for the rest of the feathers. And what I do is around the eyes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these little, almost like, I call them like, they look almost like eyelashes. So I'm going to go around the eyes like this, almost like in a little pinwheel. I'm going to do the same thing here. And if you need to use your small brush for this, please do. Some people like the small brush better. I like to use this brush because I like it gives some nice full feathers when I go to do the body. And then when you get to the body, all you really need to do is you're just going to kind of do these little lines. And you can kind of build them on top of each other. If you give them a little bit of curve on the sides or on those wings, that's going to make it look like there's a little bit of motion in them. But all you really need to do, just these short little lines so you can see some of that brown underneath. And if you want, you can make them fluffier. Just push your brush a little bit harder. That'll make them look fluffier. I'm going to go do the next one now. So I'm going to do the little pieces around the eyes. And then, again, I'm just kind of doing almost like these little dashes that go right around those eyes. And we're going to be putting fun hats and stuff on these little creatures. So if the head is not perfectly shaped, don't worry about it. And then I'm just going to kind of go about and put some coming down here. And you can see I'm just doing little swipes or vertical dashes. And they don't all have to be the same length. They don't have to be in rows. You can just kind of use your brush and just kind of put these cute little marks on here. Sometimes I go back to where I was because I want it to be a little bit fluffier, but I'm going to go right on to the next guy here. And again, I'm going to do my little dashes around the eyes. Little dashes around the eyes. And then I'm going to do the body with my little dashes. And I just go from the bottom and build my way up. They're almost kind of like polka dots, like long polka dots. And for the next step, I'm going to use my small brush. So once you get this done, you can put this medium brush away in your water cup. It's hard to stop getting some nice fluffy feathers in here. So put your medium brush away in your water cup, and you'll take out your small brush for the next step. All right, so here's a really fun step. We're going to do the hats for our owls. I'm going to use my number 2 small brush. You can use whatever colors you want to. I might switch this up, but right now in my head, I'm going to use black, white, purple, yellow, blue, and maybe some red. So I'm probably going to use almost all the colors on my palette. I'm going to start with this guy over here first. I'm going to do a top hat for him, and I'm going to use black and white on my brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a straight line like this, and then I'm going to kind of have some fun with this and make it like this. You could make a cowboy hat, you could make a little French beret, you could put a baseball hat, which I think I'm going to do on my little guy. Oh my God, the kind of hats are endless. You could do like a clown hat or a crown or whatever you want. I'm going to have fun with this and also put a tie on my fine feathered friend. So I'm not quite sure how to make a tie, so I'm just going to kind of do that and make it a little bit skinnier down here. That looks like a tie, I think. Maybe a little bit of a little white mark here. And you can always use white to highlight little areas too. That's going to be my guy's hat and tie. And for the lady, I'm going to make her have a nice summer pretty hat. I'm going to use purple and white on my brush, and I'm going to have hers with this pretty brim to it, and maybe it's, you know, well, maybe I'll round off that top. I think I'm going to put a, oh, there we go, we got a nice flip up right here. Sometimes the hats, they just kind of make themselves. I think I'm going to make this one come a little bit over here, and maybe I'm going to give her, does she want a scarf? Oh, maybe she can have a necklace, a little polka dotted necklace. There we go. I like having something on that neck. I'm going to put a pretty white daisy in her hat too, so I'm just going to put white paint on my brush. And I'm going to do these little, like a little pinwheel of white paint. And you again, have fun with this. You can have flowers on her hat. You can have big designs. Maybe she's got long hair and she's got a ponytail or something. Maybe she's got a feather coming out of her hat. I just put yellow on my brush for the center of that flower. And the boy, I'm going to put him with a baseball hat, so I'm going to put blue on my brush. And all I'm really going to do for this is make sure that it's kind of on the top of his head right here so you can see the blue. And then I'm going to do a little flip up part right here. So maybe he's wearing it to the side. And that's all I'm going to do for my hats. The next step, we are going to use this small brush again, so just wash it and dry it and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to use our small brush. We're going to do the feet and the beaks. I'm going to be using yellow and white paint, and I'm going to use them on my brush at the same time. And what I'm going to do for the feet is I'm going to, in essence, make like 3 little claws that are holding on to the branch. I guess it could be 2 claws or 3 claws, but they're going to be right underneath each bird, and you can pick your spot. Just don't press hard. You can always practice on a piece of paper or something too. And I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to reload my brush because you want to have a good amount of paint on your brush, and you want your brush to be nice and pointy. And I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then I think I have enough paint on my brush, but I'll reload there. 1, 2, 3, and you want the yellow to really show so it doesn't look like more feathers. So I just put a little bit more yellow on my brush there. I'm going to do 1 here, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go to my little guy now, and I got 1. I think I'm just going to put 2 on him just to make him look smaller. 1, 2, and then 1, 2. And then when you go to do the beaks, it's just really a mark within the black. You don't want to cover up the black all the way. And if you want to, you're more than welcome to make owl noises when you do the beak. I'm not quite sure what I mean, owls have all kinds of noises. I think they hoot, they screech. I think some of them, let's see, they go hoo hoo. They kind of like a dove. I think they make those kind of noises too. But I can't believe I just made an owl noise for you. So I'm really just kind of making these little marks for the beaks, and that's all I'm going to do. The next step, we will use that small brush, so wash it and dry it and get ready for the next step. All right, so for the next step, we're going to finish our eyes. We're going to use the small brush. The colors, I'm going to have all of my owls have different eyes, so I'm going to use blue, green, purple, and white. And I might, you know what's funny? I never used red. We're going to have to incorporate that red somewhere in a minute. So blue, green, purple, and white are going to be the eye colors. And if you want to, you can certainly, you might need to use a little bit of black, but I'm going to just go with the regular colors first, and if I run into trouble, then I'll incorporate some black. But what I'm going to do, so for the guy, I'm going to be putting blue on my brush. And what I want to do, I need to keep an area in the middle black and an area on the exterior black. So you want to make like a donut of color for each eye. So right now, I just have blue on my brush, and I'm going to make myself like a donut in there. You can use a touch of white if you want to, so it doesn't turn out too light when you're all done. So blue with a little bit of white, and just make yourself like a donut. So I'm going to do the same thing on this eye. Blue with a little bit of white. And again, you want to keep the outside black and the inside black. Okay? Then I'm going to wash my brush and dry it and go on to the next one. So this one I'm going to have green and a little bit of white. And I'm making myself that donut kind of shape. And if you run into a little bit of wet black like I just did, no big deal. That's what I'm going to do for hers. Wash and dry my brush. And for him, I'm going to do purple and white. So I put a little bit of purple and white on my brush. And I'm going to make this donut type shape. And just go slow. You don't have to, nobody's in a rush here. We're just going to kind of do this nice and slow. Take your time with it. If you need to add more paint or start over, whatever you need to do, nobody's in any hurry here. And then once I get the color on there, I need to put some twinkle in my eyes. So what I did is I washed and dried my brush. I'm going to pick up just white paint, and I'm going to put 2 dots at the top side of the eye, kind of in the colored part. So here I go. I'm going to go 1, 2, and I want the dots to be similar in the eye, next eye. So 1, 2. They don't have to be the same size either. You could have like a small one. They could even be diagonal like this one. Maybe one of them's like a little bit of a dash and a dot and a dash and a dot. And then, because I said I was going to use red, I know those are the eyes, but I'm going to quickly wash and dry my brush because that took a quick second. So we're going to do one more little step. Wash and dry your brush for the next step and take a bite of your cookie. All right, so because I forgot to use red, well, I didn't really forget. I just chose to do all of my accents with different colors. I'm using my small brush. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I'm just going to use red, and I'm going to make a red design on his tie. I'm just going to make some red polka dots going down, maybe, and put a little bit on his hat. So maybe he's got a striped hat. And that's That's how I'm going to incorporate my red. I think it looks super cool. So any good painting has a final step to go with this small brush. So when you get done decorating your hats and stuff, you can wash and dry that small brush and get ready for the final step. All right, so the last step to any good painting is to sign it. I'm going to sign mine in the bottom left corner with black paint. You can sign yours wherever you want to. I usually do mine bottom left or bottom right. I do my initials, but you could certainly do your first name or the date or, you know, your full name, whatever works for you. This is your painting. You sign it whatever way you want to. And that is going to conclude this painting. I hope you enjoyed the process. I hope you love your painting with your wise little owl family. Maybe your guy is, you know, very smart with his wise hat and she's a fashion owl, and maybe you got your sporty little guy there pulling up the rear on this, but I think they're very personable and fun, so I hope you love your painting as much as I do, and I look forward to painting and eating yummy cookies with you again sometime.